Good evening and welcome. My name is Gatel Ruiz Nicholas, and I'm your host for the GRN show. Our topic today is intriguing. It's navigating the artificial intelligence frontier. There are so many tasks that are being handled by intelligent machines or systems. And what we're seeing is typically many of those tasks would be performed by human beings. However, when we talk about AI, we're talking about speech recognition. People make decisions with artificial intelligence. They also, it's a visual perception. I was reading the other day that there is a gallery that reproduces many artwork through AI and language translation. And the list goes on and on. But before we begin, I would like to invite you to follow us on social media and our YouTube channel. You may search under the GRN show. Please subscribe, like, and comment. That information is very important to us. So in today's segment, I want to dissect the topic of artificial intelligence, which we call AI. In fact, it's been around for a very long time. We're talking about going back to 1957. There's a period between 1957 and 1974. The breakthroughs were not as accelerated as they are now. So now we are in the age of artificial intelligence, and we have an excellent speaker with us today. He is an entrepreneur, a very active community leader, and quite knowledgeable on this subject. So it is a pleasure for me to introduce to you Jay Jean-Louis. He is the co-founder of Computer Bargains, an IT firm. He is also the founder of IntelliSense Cloud, a digital marketing company that focuses on social media, all the stuff, TikTok, website, etc. So Jay is an expert, and I'm just so thrilled to have him with us. Jay, good evening and welcome.
Thank you, Miss Nicholas. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you. And the topic is very important for us to talk about, and I'll be happy to delve into it with you.
Excellent. Please, Gitel. Let's just keep it quite informal. Gitel is quite fine.
All right.
So, it was interesting the other day. I was at the supermarket and then I heard these two individuals talk. And then one mentioned AI, and the other person said, "What is AI?" They're using the acronym quite often, not realizing not everybody understands it. So let's start with the basic. What is artificial intelligence, AI, and why do you think we're hearing so much about it these days?
First of all, let's make it even simpler. Let's just talk about intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before we even use the word artificial. Uh, Intelligence is defined in the Oxford Dictionary as the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. Okay. Uh, I think we are intelligent beings because we can analyze our environment. We can analyze the different inputs that we are getting. What do I mean by that? As a human being, we have five senses. We have the taste, we have the hearing, we have the sight, the touch. We have the smell. Those are the senses that allow us to take information and process it. So when we're talking about intelligence, it's the ability to take that big data of information and then transform it into something reasonable. That means we can reason. We're using our intelligence to reason. So when we're talking about artificial intelligence, the dream that all scientists has is for computers to replace the human being, to replace us. Every day, as a technician, as a scientist, I'm working on different algorithms to see how we can do, the computer can do something better or can replace a human being in what we do as mechanical. So artificial intelligence become that big word nowadays because everybody's scared of it, but there is nothing to be scared of yet.
Hmm.
Yet. You see what I'm saying? I didn't say don't be scared of it, but not yet. So artificial
Excellent.
intelligence is the fact that we can, a computer, a machine, can take information and then manipulate that information and behave like a human being.
Interesting, interesting. So it's like I have all kind of things going through my mind right now because so much is being done by machines. And I'm wondering whether or not they fall in the category of artificial intelligence. So, and I'll give you an example. My favorite store now, you only have one cashier.
Mm-hmm.
You only have one cashier at one of my favorite grocery stores because you go, you scan, the machine does it for you, gives you your change. So I don't know if that's artificial intelligence. Can you please give us some examples of artificial intelligence situations or examples of what we use on a daily basis?
Uh, Going to the cashier and be able to self-check out is not yet artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence in our daily life would be something like when you're using Facebook, and Facebook is able to take the different pictures that you have in your profile, in your album, and analyze those pictures and be able to recognize you in any other place. Let's say, for example, you went to a party and then your video is online. Let's say, for example, you have somebody who is on the terror watch list. Okay, so the government will scan the pictures on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, all the social media platform, and then the artificial intelligence will be able to recognize this is that person we're looking for. So they intelligently they can make a match. So
Mm,
so it's not just a mechanical or a wood seed job. Like for example, in a factory you have uh, the workers, they are building cars in a line, but the factory line is not artificial intelligence. But however, Amazon has artificial intelligence in its stores and even online. When you go online, you try to shop on Amazon, uh, they look at your habits. They look at what you try to purchase, you put in your cart, but you didn't buy. They look at how long you spend on a specific product. Are you reading the description? So by doing all this, they take that information and then the artificial intelligence apparatus, the software, will make suggestions, will make recommendations to you on what to do. Another example, Netflix. You watch movies on Netflix all the time, but you have suggestions, recommendation on certain
that's
movies
true.
based
That's
on what you're
true.
watching, based
Hmm.
on what type of movies, the genre you're looking at. Nowadays, you see Facebook, Google, TikTok. They went into in front of Congress to answer questions about how they're using our data. But they are powerful. They have so much information at their disposal. They can market you any product with for example the elections coming up. They can manipulate data, your information, to send you in a corner. They can put you in the Democratic corner, in the Independent corner, in the Republican corner, and you don't even know that because they're feeding you information that is related to topics that you had looked at in the past based on your behavior. That's what artificial intelligence does.
Interesting. I've always, when you think about AI, again, I think one of the biggest things that has always concerned me is the fact that machines or replacing people in so many ways. I had a very interesting interaction. I was in a customer service, and the way I saw or the way I heard the speech, I had to say, am I speaking to a human or am I speaking to
Yep.
a robot? And
Hmm.
actually, they answered. It was not a human.
That's
It
correct.
was a high, they say, high technical, knowledgeable, whatever they said. So when I realized I was not speaking to a human, I hung up. So I'm always thinking of, our world is really changing. Many jobs, particularly, when you have the unskilled, when you have people who are just starting to work, I've always felt that if machines are replacing them, which is why I thought maybe the cashier and all of that might be AI, because they know exactly what you're buying and scanning, how much to give you back, or if they're not. So on along those lines, Jade, do you think AI is an opportunity to enhance our world, or is it a threat in today's society? Or perhaps it's both. Perhaps you may be able to elaborate on that a little bit.
Sure. Look at it this way. Uh, we have lots of big inventions that has transformed our society, even humankind.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the invention of the printing shop in the imprimery, when books come out, everybody think that was the worst thing that could have happened to humanity because now you can write. People will be able to read in the past. You can keep things in archives. But look at books. What we see what books has done for us. Books has made humanity better.
Mm-hmm.
Now, artificial intelligence is the biggest revolution in humanity. Okay, it will surpass what books has done for us. It will surpass the information age. It will surpass the industrial age. That's the biggest revolution. It will transform humanity in a way that we can't even comprehend right now.
Mm.
So now, what do I mean by that? Every single job will be affected by AI. AI can be a co-pilot. AI can be a co-pilot, meaning if you're a doctor, you walk into your office, you can have an AI software that analyzes your calendar, that analyzes the urgency of your patients, analyzes all the comments, and set a priority for you on which patient to see first and what recommendation you should have for each patient.
Mm-hmm.
You can also use AI in when a doctor is reading, for example, like a scan, an X-ray. AI can read an X-ray and give you what cancer you are developing even before you can see it with your own eyes. Because what AI does, it analyzes the pattern of that cancerous cell. So it can
Mm.
predict this is the probability of having that cancer, and they can start treating you very early.
Got it. Got it.
So the transformation is humongous. AI will be able to be, as you see it right now, we have an Amazon store where you walk in with your phone, and you don't need any assistant, you don't need anybody. You just walk in, you check in with your phone, and then every single shelf you go to, you pick up the merchandise, and automatically it get recorded into the app. And when you're going out, you're ready to go to check out, you don't even need a machine to check out. You just walk out, and then automatically you walk out, the bill gets charged to your credit card. So the revolution is immeasurable. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what's going to make the impact even greater on humanity is because AI is going to be combined with robotics. Robotics is a complete different subject because
Got it.
AI is the software part of technology. It's the intelligence. That's what the AI is. The same way you have a phone, you call it a smartphone. Why do you call your cell phone a smartphone? Does that mean any previous phone you had was a dumb phone? It's because the smartphone we have now, it can do so many things beside just making a phone call. So it becomes smart. And what makes it smart is because of the operating system that is installed on your smartphone.
Hmm.
Now, 40% of jobs will require AI, period.
Mm.
Lots of jobs will disappear. You'll have jobs like taxi drivers, truck drivers, even writers. Recently, you remember on Hollywood, there was a strike on Hollywood where the writers were uh, arguing that AI will replace them, and they want to make sure that the creativity that they have implemented into movies, into late night shows, into all these comedy sketches, that they can get credit for it. That the producers or the studios cannot just reuse those ideas and using AI and they don't get
Hmm.
any money for it. So that strike lasts about 2, 3 months or even more. So
Right.
people are very conscious that AI is transforming our world. But now, how does it transform our world depends on us, depends on the regulations, depends on the government intervention, depends on what we do to protect human rights, to protect civilization.
Got it. Great. Well, we're going to take a short break and we will be right back.
To learn more about what we do, to get involved in our mission to help all of Broward's children learn, grow, and thrive, or to find a program or service for your children, visit us at cscbroward.org. Children's Service Council of Broward County. Our focus is our children.
All right, we are back and we have with us Jay Jean-Louis, and we are talking about artificial intelligence. So, Jay, to continue with our question, how do you recommend that we all get a better understanding of AI and maximize its use?
Obviously, AI is a co-pilot. It's going to assist us humans. When personal computers were introduced in the 1970s, late 1970s, 1980s, everybody was scared that computers were going to replace us. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
was scared that there would be no jobs. If you ask anybody to learn how to use a computer, they will tell you, no, this computer is going to replace, it's taking our jobs, we're losing jobs. And guess what? With the advent of technologies, we see that we create more jobs with technology than without technology. Think about it right now. If you had to travel to a country and you had to take the boat to spend weeks, think about it. If you have to communicate with somebody and instead of using the different apps that you have on your phone, you have to send an audio tape that goes through the mail that spent 2, 3 weeks before that person reaches the news that you sent to them. So, uh, we are not supposed to be scared of AI.
Mm-hmm.
AI is going to make our lives better. It's going to open doors. It's going to create jobs like you never seen before. Uh, we're going to have things like uh, self-driving cars. When I talk about self-driving cars, people ask, "Oh, I'm not going to get into a self-driving car. I like to drive myself." But guess what? When you get into an airplane, the airplane is on autopilot. The airplane is on autopilot. The pilot is there in the cockpit is mostly for for dangers, for to interact if there's something that's abnormal. So when you're talking about a self-driving car, there's nothing wrong to get into a self-driving car. That will liberate you to be able to do some work while you are in the car. If you need an Uber, you won't need a driver to come pick you up. The car can come pick you up by itself. You just go into the app, you give the directions where you are, your address, and then the car come pick you up. So AI is a positive for humanity. I said that's the biggest impact, that's the biggest transformation that humanity will experience. But we can make it positive. We can make it very, uh, uh, very good for humanity. When
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about, let's say, for example, work, your job. If you're working and AI is involved into the work that you're doing, then you have to get yourself acquainted with AI. If you're writing a script for the show right now, you can use AI to help you write the script. You can use AI to help you write the script. Uh,
Really?
sure, sure. Most advertising that you see on TV now, they are written by AI. So people writing books use AI to write books. So we're not supposed to see AI as a threat, even though it has the potential to be a threat if you're using the wrong way. An example of a threat: if we start using AI in wars, for example, we start building robots and we put AI into the robots, and then we start having wars using robots. Instead of you sending people to war, we're sending robots to war. That's a threat. But guess what? We're using drones to wage war, right?
That's correct. That's
We're using
correct.
drones, and drones uses AI. So to me, that's where the danger is if we're looking at AI. But in terms of positivity, it's limitless. Let's say, for example, there is a hurricane. You have to do disaster recovery. But you can send a robot with AI knowledge program to go and retrieve people, to go and clear the way. You don't have to put human lives in danger. So,
Mm-hmm.
there are so many positive things you can do with AI that we need to think about instead of being scared of it. Now, there is a big challenge now with fake news, with deep fake. But AI can help us solve that problem as well. AI can detect if a video is deep fake, if it's not true, if it's unreal, if it's made up. So we have the technologies. We can use it for good. Drug discovery in drugs, in order to discover new drugs for certain diseases, AI will be able to transform the pharmaceutical industry.
That is so interesting. Except one thing you said, I wish in wars we would use robot instead of people, simply because I mean it is what it is. Just a thought. I don't want to use um I don't want to lose human lives. I'd rather a robot being destroyed. So it's just a thought of it. Um you've touched on it a little bit. I think there are a lot of people feel that from an ethical standpoint, there are implications.
Mhm.
When I say ethical, you've mentioned fake news, you've mentioned, the elections, but me personally, as an individual, how how are we exposed to the unethical implications of AI?
Uh, there is a British physicist, and we all sure we know about him. His name is Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking warned about AI. It says, unless we learn how to prepare for and avoid the potential risk, AI could be the worst event in the history of our civilization. Okay? Now, what you just said, exactly, that's why people are supposed to prepare. We suppose government supposed to have rules and regulations, supposed to have standard on how to use AI. Government needs to have guidance. For example, uh, privacy laws in the US are really paramount. We
Mm-hmm.
care about our privacy. In Germany, mostly in the Western countries, privacy is paramount. In Europe, the European Union, they have specific laws managing privacy, preventing AI, preventing big tech from collecting information from you without you even know, and they're using that information. And that's where ethical, when we're talking about ethics, that's where ethical comes from. So, but in different cultures, things are different.
Right.
Ethics depends on the culture you're living in. If the principles are different in different cultures, then what I do in the US might be unethical, but what I do in China might be just fine.
Got it.
For
Got it.
example, China doesn't care about your privacy. They have cameras everywhere, in the streets, public area, restaurants, and they monitor everybody in the country. They use AI to build new cities. New cities are completely built and use AI 24/7. So, for example, if you are building a house and you have to follow certain building codes, in China, they have cameras filming the entire neighborhood 24/7. So, if you put a structure on your house that is illegal, automatically AI detects it and then they come get you.
My goodness.
Okay? But guess what? If you jaywalk in China, you get a ticket for jaywalking. They are building the equivalent of credit score in China. The equivalent of credit score in China, it's like if you get a ticket that goes against your scoring in humanity, okay? They're grading you, everything you do wrong. They keep grading you. And you're basically you're 24/7 under surveillance. So when you're talking about ethics, in the US, you can't do that. You cannot do that.
Yeah, we
But
have HIPAA
China,
laws. Mm-hmm.
in China, the government can do it because it's a different system. So when
Right.
we're talking about ethics, I'm telling you, we are at a disadvantage versus China because China is not playing by the rules. That's why a social media like TikTok should be banned in the US.
Mm.
Should be banned in the US, period. It should be banned. Right now, TikTok is supposedly banned on government devices. But I think TikTok should have been banned for the entire public. And that's why we are at a disadvantage. We are respecting certain rules. We are pro privacy rights. So when China is using big data to collect information on everybody in China, they're using that data for strategical advantages. When they're using TikTok in the US, they're collecting lots of information on her behavior, on her habits, on geolocation, on different things that you don't even know, even on your mood, on facial recognition. There are so many aspects that TikTok and social media is collecting information on us that we don't even comprehend how they're going to use it in the future, in the future of artificial intelligence. So when we're talking about ethics, we are very much at a disadvantage. Very much at a disadvantage because some countries do not respect any ethical boundaries. Recently, President Biden put out a guideline or an executive order where there is a certain principle that US companies have to use when we are developing artificial intelligence. So that guideline is only for the US. It's only for
Got
the
it.
US. If China doesn't respect any type of these guidelines, then we are losing the battle against China.
You know, and again, forgive my ignorance on the different platforms of social media. So to me, you've mentioned TikTok, which has become so popular. I think a lot of kids, young adults nowadays, they don't use Facebook. It's either Instagram and TikTok. So what makes is it because they're in the US? Facebook, Instagram, what makes them different than TikTok?
TikTok, the major problem with TikTok is basically under the influence of the Communist Party in China.
Got it.
TikTok is owned by a company called ByteDance, and then that company is accountable to the Chinese government. So when all this data is collected in the US, the Chinese government can at any time have access to that information, and we have no way of preventing the Chinese government from using it in any way that they want to.
I see. I see.
So platforms like Amazon, when you're using Amazon Alexa at your house,
Yes.
you say Alexa, and then you ask Alexa a question. When you're using your phone, your iPhone, you say Siri, and then Siri, you ask a question. You're using an Android, you say, okay, Google, and then you can ask a question and do your search. The principles that we use here, China doesn't go by the same set of
Got
rules.
it. Got it.
So when you have an Alexa inside your house, Alexa is collecting information about if you have a baby in the house, collecting the temperature inside your house, collecting so much environmental information that might not violate your privacy because that information doesn't say this is guitar. That information doesn't say this is where you live. But that information tells me if you have a baby in the house and you're arguing with your husband, and then Alexa collect that information, they know what product to sell you. They know what kind of reading they can suggest you, what kind of books they can suggest you. So they have information that you don't know that they have. And most of us think that by not having our names, by not having our age, by not having our address, by not having our driver's license number or social security number, we are safe with social media. We are safe with collecting information on us. No, we are not safe. We are not safe. And that's why TikTok is so different, because they're not respecting the same set of rules that those companies are forced to respect in the US.
Excellent. Well, listen, this is really informative, and I really appreciate you breaking it down to a level where we can understand, and there are some very good nuggets that you've pointed out. For example, the whole TikTok thing, I was not aware of that. Everybody's using Alexa right now, even like a 7-year Google, do this, Google, show me Lego City, that kind of stuff. So we have a generation of children who's growing with that sort of I don't know, intelligence or technology, these different platforms. So it's very interesting. And I cannot thank you enough, Jay, for sharing your expertise with us. So what would be if there was one last word to our audience about AI, briefly, what would it be?
Uh, we have to remember why we are human. And that's how we will know if AI is a danger or not. We are human because we have the faculty of reasoning. We are human because we have morals. We are human because we are self-aware. We have creativity. We are able to say things in a context, meaning if I'm in an environment, in a social environment, I know what to say, I know what not to say. But guess what? With AI, it's only using big data. It's only using machine learning. It's only using deep learning. So these technologies doesn't have what's called sentience. Doesn't have doesn't it cannot put into a machine the sense of self-awareness. You cannot put emotions into those machines. So
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning we talked about how five senses. Right now, AI and technology really focusing on computer vision, on the webcam. That's what's mostly taking information for the to that technology. So we have not explored yet senses, smell, maybe with a microphone, hearing, AI technology can detect what you're saying, they can feel that. But there are so many things that AI is so far from being intelligent. Right now, the algorithms that makes up AI is just reading lots of information from the internet.
Data.
Yeah, let's
Mm-hmm.
take ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a generative pre-trained transformer. What does that mean? That means there are scientists that gives the computer lots of information from the internet. They make the computer reads everything that's on the internet and use that information to make decision. When I told you earlier that you can write a script for your show, you can write anything you want, a book, a poem with ChatGPT or with AI, it's because ChatGPT has learned every single poem there is on the internet. Edgar Allan Poe, or Rousseau, name it, La Fontaine, name it. It has learned all these poems. So when you're writing a poem, it's only guessing what's the next word. That's logical word
Got it.
you have to place after that. That's not intelligence. That's not intelligence. So we have to make sure that we as human beings, we know why we are humans, what makes us human. And once we know what makes us human, then we can apply the same respect, the same principles toward the technologies so that we don't abuse it.
Got it. Got
Finally,
it.
finally, Gitel, I'd like to tell you a little story. There are people out there who believe that we are playing God. There are people out there who believe that maybe there is another species out there who created us. That we don't really have a God, but we have another species out there, just the same way we are trying to create computers and put AI into robots, make them independent. Maybe we have been created by another species, not by God.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, once again, Jay, thank you so much. And, perhaps I'll bring you back to kind of talk about a couple of other things because there is new technology where people can access AI. So thanks again. And you have a wonderful evening. Really appreciate you being with us and sharing all of that great information. Have a good night, Jay.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hope to see you again.
Okay, super. Bye bye. The information that she shared with us, fascinating. So I am hoping that with this information, we have demystified this topic of AI. In my opinion, it is new terminology that is thrown at us all the time. It is new app that is thrown at us, and we have to become familiar and also really be cognizant of how it benefits our lives, as well as being vigilant as to how it can really exploit us and others. So this is where my learning curve is. So I really encourage you to continue to learn about the subject and adapt, as well as protect ourselves. So, my dear friends, we are at the end of our program. I want to say thank you so much for your joining us, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening. Until next time, good night.
To learn more about what we do, to get involved in our mission to help all of Broward's children learn, grow, and thrive, or to find a program or service for your children, visit us at cscbroward.org. Children's Service Council of Broward County. Our focus is our children.